Hi guys, we are here with Vaden and Briana Carthel for another garden club tour. We are so excited. We've been waiting for this one. Vaden, tell us a little bit about yours.
So yes, we're here in our backyard here in Amarillo. Like most backyards, this was just a yard. And my wife Briana and we love beauty. We get inspired by nature and what we call chaos gardening. It's kind of trending and stuff. And that's the inspiration that we took back here. We've been working on this for about 2.5 years now. It's been a wonderful journey, a ton of work. It's been a magical process. The word we like to describe this is whimsical. It's a very whimsical and perfectly perfect, naturey backyard. We're super excited to show y'all. This is gonna be really cool.
So when we first moved in, there was an existing water feature, if that's what you want to call it. It was extremely overgrown. It was about this big. And then progressively over the past couple of years, Vaden has created this. And we bought about 8 fish and put them in here, and then they had a bunch of babies. And we also put all of these elephant ears around it and planted a few roses around it as well. And it's just so fun and just so natural. And it's its own little ecosystem here because we at one point were feeding the fish, and then we eventually were just able to stop. We put the food, and they would eat whatever was in the pond except for their own food. So they just kind of create their own ecosystem. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's just the whole point of this is creating an environment back here that sustains life. So the birds we see, I mean, literally hundreds of birds a day are coming and they're drinking from this pond and they're swimming in it, and the bees come and drink from it, and it's just beautiful to get to watch that, and it just adds to the vibrant environment back here.
So an elephant ear, I feel like elephant ear is, well, it's one of your favorites.
Yeah. Well, I just like how big the foliage gets. The leaves get huge and it's tall. There's a ton of varieties. But one thing with these, though, it's a big bulb. You plant in the ground early spring, they'll pop up as it gets hotter. But you can remove the bulb, shade off all the stuff, and then put it in a dark place like the garage and get it to come back next year. Replant it and have it do it all over again.
Which we have done, and it worked great. So it's one of my favorites. Love it. Okay, so obviously behind me, almost the same height, not baby height of course, but me and Briana's height, they have planted this wildflower garden.
Yeah, so it's just a mix of a bunch of different varieties of wildflowers. There's over 30 varieties, and the whole goal of this is to be pollinator friendly. So we'll get to it here in a second, but we have a lot of vegetables, and so what we want to do is we want to attract as many pollinators into our backyard as possible. So these are cosmos and zinnias and some mint varieties, and even Italian basil is a great pollinator flower, and sunflowers, and it's a mix, and we have clover growing on the ground, and we're just trying to bring in as many beneficial insects as possible. And the goal with this is increasing biodiversity. So biodiversity is extremely important when you're gardening. And normally a lot of people, they tend to do monocultures, which is like a regular lawn or one variety of plant.
Right.
If you bring in biodiversity, you'll actually have less insect problems reach your sows. And so we have a lot of biodiversity back here. This is our first wildflower patch. We try to fit in as many as possible all over the place, and seeding wherever we could fit a flower, we put a flower, and it's a wonderful experience.
It's like I told them when I walked out here, it's like a secret garden. Like there's little paths all through this whole space. They have little seating areas tucked in. We'll get to those. But also, I did want to, you'll see in just a little bit that the pollinators have pollinated all the vegetables.
Yes.
They have a ton of produce that they're about to harvest. Well, coming up pretty soon. So we'll get to that in a minute.
So this was the second thing we added to our garden. This is the second year. This one trellis, we added that this past year. But for this, we did spaghetti squash and cucumber, and then there's also some peas sprinkled in. So the spaghetti squash is doing pretty well. It's not doing as great as it did last year, because this year I got all of the spaghetti squash off of it while it was still pretty immature, and I was just cooking it like that. I didn't let them fully get mature. The butternut squash, we have a ton, and so I didn't want to have to can as much. So I was hand pollinating them before the pollinators came, and then as soon as they were ready for me to eat, I would cut them off and chop them. And I think it stunted their growth, but with how much we have back here, I don't really mind because there's enough to keep up with.
So this side of our garden is our cucumbers. We have, I don't even know how many cucumbers. We're constantly eating cucumbers. It's an abundance of them. In the soil, and we actually did this in all of our beds, we sprinkled in dry molasses. So dry molasses, like the name, it's literally just molasses that's been dehydrated. Plants, whenever they're growing, in order for them to produce fruit, they have to take carbohydrates from the soil to produce fruit. Dry molasses is a sugar, and it'll actually take that sugar out of the soil into the fruit itself, and we now have sweet cucumbers. They're unbelievable.
You did mention self-pollination. Could you tell us what that is? Because I think that's kind of interesting.
So the plants produce male flowers and female flowers. And if you get the male flower and take it off and go to the female flower, and they're very distinct with how they look. And you get the male flower and just kind of just gently rub it on there and self-pollinate that way. And it instantly pollinates it, and then you'll see the fruit start to get bigger.
So you're being a bee.
I'm being a bee.
I love it.
So this applies to really anything that is an actual distinct fruiting vegetable, not really to tomatoes themselves. Tomatoes, you can just shake the tomato plant and it'll self-pollinate from there. Same with corn, you can just shake it. With squash and with cucumbers also, it applies to those. Anything that's a distinct
Pumpkin
fruit.
stew.
Yes. Yeah, that has a distinct flowering fruit.
I've seen people pollinate tomato plants by an electric toothbrush. They'll
That's so
put it
funny.
against it and
vibrate
it
it.
shakes
Shake
it
it.
enough
Yeah.
that it's just throwing pollen everywhere. It's fun. People are creative.
Let's do the
So our entire garden is organic. As long as the pests don't harm us or harm our produce too much, then we just let them live. The only thing we use is spinosad soap, and that's only for squash bugs. Everything else is welcome, even the snails. We have so much produce where I don't worry about them eating it. And with how much of flowers and just lush vegetation we have, I haven't had an issue with any pests getting into our produce. We saw aphids one time on our roses, and we sprayed it with spinosad soap, and that was it. Everything else, I like to be able to come out here, just pick it off the vine and eat it directly. And I don't like chemicals if I can avoid it, especially on our food and out here where we roam and where our dog roams. And it's just not necessary to us because of how much we really care about the pollinators.
I think we learned this from Barbara Harrington's garden club, that she doesn't do a preventative spray on all of her plants, but she sprays it as needed.
Yes.
And tries not to spray.
Yes.
And she doesn't have too much of a bug problem at all. So
And I guess the beneficial bugs
Right.
that eat the bad bugs,
Yep.
that's what we're trying not to kill.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
sprays sometimes will kill everything.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And that's why we've seen such a decrease in pollinator population, is because of overuse of pesticides in yards and in gardens and crops and everything. So we've completely avoided that unless absolutely necessary back here.
And it's brought more life. We have tons of dragonflies, hummingbirds, all the different kind of pollinators we have back here. And it's really beautiful.
That's so cool. Well, tell us about this guy.
yeah.
So we're here. This is one of our little aisles. So we're getting further into the food garden, and what we've done is we've maximized our space. Every single square inch that we could grow something, we're growing something, except little patches of grass. Here's a small corn patch. This is an experiment this year. Yes, we're growing corn in our backyard. This is actually a dent corn. So dent corn isn't like sweet corn where you eat it while it's ripe and green. Dent corn is what you make cornmeal out of. And so you let the kernel completely harden. This dent corn is an emerald green dent corn. So the corn flour we're gonna get has a lot more nutrients in it than your regular yellow corn. And it has a much deeper flavor. So we can see here, and the reason dent corn is called dent corn is because you'll see the dents on top of the corn kernels right there, and that's why it's called dent corn. So this is an emerald green variety of dent corn. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this all completely dry out. Then we're gonna use a natural stone grinder. We're gonna grind it up into cornmeal and make corn flour, and then we make cornbread, corn muffins, corn pancakes.
We gotta get some of that.
I know.
Yes,
I feel
absolutely,
like we're just
yeah.
gonna be grocery shopping.
And
tonight.
what's gonna be
Keep
fun
them
about it
early.
is it's green.
Yeah.
It's gonna be green pancakes and
It's
green
so-
cornbread.
It's the most beautiful corn I've ever seen.
Yes, it's wonderful. This corn actually won an award for the strongest umami flavor in Tennessee in 2018, and I got the kernel seeds from the original grower, the original person who produced this corn.
Wow.
Of course you did.
So
Random
Of
fact
course.
of the day for sure. I love it.
yes, yeah, and we're super excited about it. It's beautiful. It's so unique. Next year, she didn't know it wasn't sweet corn until I told. Like, it was already this tall, and I was like, "FYI, we're
I was
not
like,
going to
what's
be
the
able."
point?
Yeah.
Question: how are you actually watering these different areas? Do y'all
So-
have I see some emitters.
Yes, so we have an in-ground irrigation system.
Okay.
So it's on an automatic timer. All this just gets irrigated. And from our in-ground irrigation system, we have drippers running into each of our beds. And it waters everything efficiently. Sometimes, like today, whenever it's 105, we may need to go hit some stuff at the end of the day with a water hose.
Yeah.
But ultimately, this takes care of everything for us 90% of the time.
You
This
don't
time-
see raspberry bushes,
No.
blueberry bushes. Like
Yes.
I know you
Yeah.
kind of like taken this challenge upon yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
We've talked about this before. You did it.
Oh yeah, so these raspberry bushes, berry bushes in general, besides strawberries tend to do okay in Amarillo.
Yeah.
So berries love super acidic soil. And naturally in Amarillo, we don't have that. Well, what we did is so there is a liner here. We took this down we removed about 6 inches of the soil, and we brought in Fox Farm soil conditioner, ocean forest, and a little bit of topsoil, and then forest mulch, and brought it all the way up so it's like 10 inches deep of just completely amended soil. We put these raspberry bushes in there as sticks at the beginning of this year. They were this big, and they've completely bushed out. They've done excellent. It's just a testament to you really can grow whatever you want here. It just takes time, takes effort, and you just have to kind of artificially create an environment for them to thrive in. And we can continue to work our way down this bed if we want to.
Okay.
What we have here is we've optimized companion planting. We have not fertilized anything at all. So we have sweet alyssum and white Dutch clover. Of course, there's a little bit of grass wanting to come up, or a lot of bit of grass. But you can see the white Dutch clover. So white Dutch clover is a great companion plant. It's so easy to grow. You just sprinkle it into your garden beds. It's a nitrogen fixer, so it's going to take nitrogen from the atmosphere and put it into the soil. You'll never need to fertilize. It'll keep the soil alive and keep it bioactive. That's the most important part about long-term gardening, is keeping your soil alive. And the dry molasses, we mix dry molasses in all this as well. It feeds the beneficial bacteria. So there's a huge network of fungus and bacteria growing under here. And whenever you have, again, biodiversity, where it's not just single monocrop, and you bring in a variety of different plants, you don't need to do anything else. You just put them in the ground. They're all going to take care of each other. They interact with each other. And that's how nature works. And you can bring the science of nature into organized gardening, and it looks beautiful as long as you're okay with it maybe not looking absolutely perfect and symmetrical and aligned, which a lot of people like. We're landscapers, so we get that. But for us personally, it's extremely biodiverse, and we're going to continue this. And it's worked really, really well for us. So. And then here is our tomato line. We're growing a large variety of tomatoes. We have yellow tomatoes, heirlooms, big beefs. Tomatoes, everybody likes to grow them. They're really easy to grow. Whenever you plant this many, you have an abundance of tomatoes.
Yeah.
So we're like every day, like just eating them as snacks, making pasta sauces, just like trying to not let any of our tomatoes go bad.
Go to waste.
Because there's so many just coming off the plants.
We don't even make it inside with ours because we usually only grow the little cherry tomatoes or the patio,
pop them.
and we just eat them.
Yeah.
I'll rarely carry them in, and then I'll just eat those anyways. So.
Yeah.
The girls love them.
Oh yeah, they're great.
It's
Great
fun.
snack. Super easy to grow. And if you let some of them rot, let the fruit get completely ripe, let it fall to the ground, and just leave it alone. Next year you will naturally have tomatoes coming right back up.
Oh, okay.
And because tomato seeds are a seed, kind of like some wildflower seeds, they like to cold stratify. So as the temperatures get really cold, it actually can break down the outside layer of the seed, which allows for better germination in the springtime. These are Mongolian giant sunflowers. They're the largest sunflower variety in the world. Their seeds are huge. If we can pull a head down in a minute, we'll show you some of the seeds. They're huge sunflower seeds. These are about 12 feet tall right now whenever they're not lopsided. They can get up to 18 feet tall. So they're taller than our 9-foot fence right now. And the stalks of them are huge. They're like trees. We started these from seed. They grow really quickly. Here's one of our Mongolian giant heads that came off. These seeds still need to dry. These have not dried yet. But you can, of course, eat these seeds. After these heads dry out, you can put these in the oven, roast the seeds, put a little salt on them, and chew them up. Put a little lime salt on them, whatever you want to do, and you have some. And they produce a ton. There's obviously a ton of sunflower seeds. And so after these are done and we harvest them, we'll never buy Mongolian sunflower seeds again because next year we're just gonna plant them again.
I was telling them, I think this is one of my favorite parts about this. This is so fun.
Yes, it's our newest addition this year. We added this bed and just built this. And we have a variety, so we have a ton of butternut squash. How many did we count the other day?
We counted 36 butternut squash yesterday.
And then we have a different variety of melons here. How many did we count?
Nearly 20.
Okay, yeah, there's about 20 melons. And we've already got 2 melons, and they just fell off, and that's when we knew they were ripe. And they were the best tasting melons, because again, we put that dry molasses, so everything is just so much sweeter. And
is it cantaloupe or
cantaloupe?
Yes,
cantaloupe over here.
We can let y'all taste some on the inside. We have one in the refrigerator.
And this is the one area that I have been fighting squash bugs for my life. And this is where I use spinosad soap only on the ones when they've just recently hatched and they're still a little white. That's when I spray them because they're sensitive. When they're adults, they have a harder shell, and so they don't die as quickly. So those I just hand pick and then take off all of. I'm sure I could find some eggs, and I just look for the little eggs and then get rid of those, pop them off, and squash bugs. Yep,
Squash bugs.
Yep. Yes.
And butternut squash, it's a winter squash. Same with the spaghetti squash, meaning after they've developed their exoskeleton, they'll last over winter. Thus the name winter squash. And that's, the Native Americans were the ones who really cultivated these en masse, and it's a survival food. And they've stayed around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And during the wintertime, you can just pile them up in a dark, cool place. You can take them out, roast them in the oven whenever you want to. You can make butternut squash soup. Of course, super good for you. Squash is really good for you. You can also replace, whenever you're making pumpkin pies, you can replace pumpkin puree with butternut squash puree. They're obviously in the same family. And yeah, it's really an easy crop to grow.
And then these ones I'm gonna let mature and get hard to grow. Actually cook in the oven.
Okay.
So it'll be like a zucchini.
Yeah.
If they're young and green like
that.
this, it'll cook just like a zucchini. And then here you can't eat the outside of them because it's so hard.
And it grows so fast and so much. Those plants started to grow that way on the beds too, and then hanging down here. So it's thinning out right now, but I've cut so much off of it because it was just trying to grow. It was just throwing
Vines all
my
over
gosh.
the place.
everywhere, and so.
Okay, thank you guys for showing us your vegetable garden. Now let's go take a look at their flower garden.
And then this is the other half of our backyard, which is following that kind of whimsical castle gardeny. So Briana and I, we were in the Czech Republic 2 years ago and in Germany, and we toured a bunch of castles, old castles, and got incredibly inspired by the castle gardens. just these old, beautiful gardens in front of these castles. And we've even joked about like bringing like gargoyles out here and like stone statues because it's like it's so magical.
Yes,
yeah.
I know.
And so that's like we've talked about doing the whole backyard vegetable garden or the whole backyard like whimsical, and then so we split it right down the middle, and we have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So
This honeysuckle.
yes, yeah. So
is so cool.
this is the honeysuckle gazebo. It's pretty wild right now. So we're in our third bloom cycle. Honeysuckle normally goes through 4 bloom cycles a year in Amarillo if it's established. So we're entering into our third bloom cycle now, and this is the extremely aromatic one. It's so aromatic. Whenever we have photos of it in the springtime where it's more yellow and gold than it is green because there's so many blooms on it, and you can smell it from the front yard.
Wow.
How pungent the honeysuckle is.
Do you know the variety? Is it Halls?
I think so.
Thanks.
Yes, it's not Japanese.
Well, I've always heard that Halls is the most fragrant.
Yes, it's unbelievably fragrant. And this, we have a little bird bath back here, and this is surrounded by more wildflowers. So this is a magical spot to come and read, and it's just whimsical. You can come out here and sit and drink your coffee in the shade of the honeysuckle and the aroma, and it's inspiring and it's beautiful.
And what kind of trees are these? You guys
So
just
these
planted
are-
these not too long ago?
Yes, we planted these this year. They're fruiting pear trees, not any fruit this year, obviously. It's very similar to the fruitless pear tree, the Bradford pear. And you can actually train these very flexible branches into an archway. And so we'll have a pear archway of pears coming down. Yes, yeah. So that's so we're gonna have a pear fruiting archway into our honeysuckle gazebo, surrounded by the wildflowers.
Oh my goodness.
Between this flower bed and those over there, we spread over 200,000 wildflower seeds because the birds eat them, then they fight on whoever can grow the fastest. And they'll just come back each year. And then sometimes we deadhead them, but a lot of times we just let them, and then we take some inside for our house.
Yeah.
And
I saw you had a little vase in
cut
the
flowers.
kitchen.
Yes,
It's
yes.
so cute.
Yes, we have them everywhere. And I went and counted, and at one point there was over 30 different type of blooms on our property. And so it was just beautiful, just seeing them just come in their different phases. And right now, since we're going through the later part of the season, a lot of the flowers are gone, but it's still beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So I've never seen anything behind us over here like this size. Tell us what this is. This is insane.
Yes, so this is a euonymus tree. So it's there's a lot of flies on it right now. It's blooming, and for some reason this year we've never seen them like this. The flies are loving the blooms this year. So this is a euonymus. The trunk starts over there, and it's been curved this direction and trained into a trellising, sloping. We did have a bench under here that you could come and sit underneath and read, and we've trimmed it up a bunch this year because it grows like crazy. We've never seen a euonymus tree before.
No, that's insane.
This is typically in the shrub yard. We have these shrubs, and they're
Small little
You
guys.
know,
Yeah.
But that trunk
3
is
feet
this.
tall.
Yeah, it's a tree.
Yeah,
So
it's a tree.
this is decades old. This was here before we bought the house. There was another one going that direction,
Wow.
and we cut that one down.
It died.
It died, and so this is just, we've continued to maintain it, and it's beautiful, and the pollinators obviously like it.
Yeah.
And we'll do something else under here eventually, but it's really, really cool, and it's alive, so we're not going to get rid of it, and it's just a great addition, and just interesting. It's just an interesting plant to have back here.
So we planted 2 more trees behind.
Yes. So right here we have a Japanese cherry tree. So this Japanese cherry tree, kind of the same way with the pears, it has very flexible and malleable branches. So what our goal is, and the cherry blossoms are unbelievable. They're extremely aromatic. They hold for a long time. We'll probably never get to fruit, but we have it for the flowers. So we're going to train this tree after it establishes its root system to grow into the honeysuckle, to where we have dropping cherry blossoms in the gazebo itself.
Wow.
And just add to that floral, mystical, magical experience. So we built this pergola this winter, and it was really honestly cheap and easy to put together. The floor is just 2x4s, and these lattice walls. And so this is just kind of a sitting escape, another place for us to come and read, drink coffee, escape from the city and the chaos of the world. And behind us, we love forest looks and just as much greenery as possible. So this is our evergreen forest backdrop. Now we have some mulberries that are coming up in here. We haven't got rid of them. A lot of people, they are invasive. We've left them because they're getting the look that we want back here. But you can't even see our house back here. So whenever you're back here and all of these are covered in the English ivy and the Virginia creeper and the honeysuckle on the front, and all of it's climbing over, this is not going to feel like that you're sitting in just a backyard in the city, which is exactly what our goal is just to come back here and escape and have
You're saying you want to escape Amarillo.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I saw you put some lights up here, so I bet it's pretty at night.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful at night. And, we actually really use this the most during the winter time. We like the brisk nights and the brisk evenings and the brisk mornings, and we'll come out here whenever we can see our breath and it's 40 degrees and drink coffee. And it's magical. Because we have the evergreens and the large Hicks yews and the Nellie Stevens hollies. It's where we get to enjoy nature still during the middle of the winter. But this is a really cool area. We definitely need to invite more people over here to come and enjoy it with us.
You just invited a what?
Yes.
And behind Vaden is our peach tree. We planted it when we got engaged, and the first year it produced 29 peaches, but it was teeny. And so we trimmed a lot off, so we ate about 17 of them. And then this year it did produce a bunch of peaches, but then that late frost got it.
Yeah.
And so it just has been able to just grow more and develop more of a root system this year.
Yes, and what we'll be doing with this, on this lattice wall, we'll be training these peach branches into the lattice wall, and they'll get, huge and stuck to the lattice wall, but then you're going to have teardrops of peaches coming in on the inside of this lattice wall, and on the outside, you can't see them right now, there's very young grapevines as well, Concord grapevines, so we're also going to have grapes growing on this and have like a Greek peaches and
Plus
grapes.
you can just sit out there and reach over and
reach over and grab it. It's a food forest. That's what our goal was, is just this nature reserve, food forest. It's been fun. It's been a blast.
Cool. We're gonna have to do some updated progression.
Yeah, we'll come
Yeah.
back
shots.
next season and
Yeah.
see
Watch.
how it's
Yeah.
Guys, y'all, it's so cool to see how y'all have made this yours, and it's just an experiment, and you guys are learning so much and teaching us obviously so much. Let's go see your front yard. Let's do it.
Between the backyard and then the in-house renovations, we put the front yard just on the back burner.
Yes.
And so this year we finally started redoing some of the edging. This edging will be next. And then we just want to bring in a lot more perennials so our front yard requires basically nothing.
Yeah.
All
So
the work
everything
in the backyard.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it still looks great.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna redo this edging?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're going to redo all this edging because it's kind of sunken down. And what our goal is, and we'll show the wildflower garden that we added this year here in a minute. So we have this dream of where we have, especially along the side of our house where all this grass is, to add a bunch more perennial wildflower beds and a walkway to welcome people who are walking on the street to walk through it. And then we're going to put up like signs talking about like what the flowers are, why we're planting them, the varieties that we're planting, and just let people like where it's a little nature walk down the side of our house. They're just a
That's
ton
fun.
of different,
Yeah, the
flowers.
community can enjoy
Yeah.
all of it too.
Yeah.
Let's go look at it.
Right here on the corner of our house, this is primarily cosmos and zinnias. Cosmos and zinnias are great for pollinators. They're great for the butterflies specifically. I think that this wildflower mix was literally called monarch wildflower mix. So the monarchs are going to love it. And the nice thing about cosmos is while they're pretty wild and they put off tons of blooms, they will bloom all the way until it freezes. So they will just keep putting off blooms all the way until we get our first freeze. And they'll basically just look like this. So they're super easy. They're prolific growers. You just throw in the seeds after the risk of frost is gone, and that's it. and then you just have a wildflower patch. So this one's pretty small. How we did this one, we used a rototiller to rototill the grass away. Then we used a broad fork to break up the first layer of the soil, and then we brought in forest mulch and a little bit of Fox Farm soil conditioner, and that was it. And our lawn irrigation system waters it. We have a head up in here and a couple drip lines in here as well. So it just stays alive with the irrigation system. And of course, all the rain we've got this year doesn't hurt.
Yes.
But it's a great touch. It's wild. That's the wildflower part. So yeah, it's wonderful.
Love to see you have Pete's geraniums.
Absolutely.
Funny story, Vaden actually worked at Pete's before we bought the place. So
Yeah.
small connection there. That's
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, we love the geraniums.
And your asparagus ferns doing great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of shade here,
Yes.
and
Ton of
it's
shade.
still doing great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the geraniums will actually, they are loving the shade probably because it's so hot. Because if you've ever grown geraniums, you know they'll kind of putter out when it starts to get this hot, and then just keep going because in the fall.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but these are doing great.
There's just a little sprinkle of sunshine that's
Yeah.
making its way through the leaves
Yeah.
that keeps them thriving. We haven't moved them, and they've just been like this all year. So we're gonna definitely do it again next year. So here again, we have a lot of shade on our front porch. So we just sprinkled in some hostas here, some English ivy behind the hosta that we're gonna train to cover up this corner, and then a Boston fern, and that's done really, really well this year. It thrives in part shade, part sun. And then these pots here, we just have sweet potato, vine, sweet alyssum, and geranium. They've done excellent as well. We planted these actually in April, really, really early, like the first week of April, and brought them in during that first snowstorm, and they've done really well. Super easy to grow. Everything pairs so well together. It's just like classic look that sweet potato, vine, and geranium gives. So yeah.
Okay, so Vaden and Briana have given us a look at their garden. It's been so fun to get to know you guys through Pete's and just through our mutual love of all of this. So we have been waiting for this one for a long time. So thanks for having us over.
Yeah,
been great.
absolutely.
And thank you for all the fruit and stuff
Yes.
you gave us.
All our groceries
There's
covered.
There's plenty.
See you guys next time.